if you have any type of alert set on your phone where news comes in sports-wise, which if you don't, you should definitely have louisianasports.net, you've seen Jaxson Dart and the New Orleans Saints be linked all morning and all afternoon. The first I saw of it was a report from Todd McShay. Todd McShay, who's now with The Ringer, has the McShay report that he puts out. And in there, he mentioned that the New Orleans Saints were, quote, high on Jaxson Dart. Not something we didn't already really know. They did a lot of work with Dart. But on the morning of the draft, when that comes out, you perk up a little bit more. Unclear if it would be at 9, but it's certainly an option for the Saints later in the first round or if they move up earlier into the second round. You follow that up with a report from CBS Sports and Aditi Kinkhamwala, who on CBS Sports Network earlier today talked about Jaxson Dart and said, oh, it's definitely an option at 9. In fact, he's not getting past 9. Now, you can look at that and say, does that necessarily mean the Saints? And have to. There's other quarterback needy teams. The Browns need a quarterback. The Giants need a quarterback. But both of those teams look completely locked in with Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, respectively. Just look at the odds. And that was obviously the very next step. When you see those reports, you go and you look at the odds. Let me refresh my computer right now to get the latest. Jaxson Dart at pick number 9 has seen his odds surge all the way up to second, plus 350. Earlier this morning, it was plus 600. It then went to plus 500. Within the last hour, plus 350. He is creeping up on Mykel Williams as the favorite to go 9th overall, and I'll make a not-so-bold prediction that by the time the first round of the draft gets underway, Jaxson Dart will be the favorite to go 9th overall. So is it a lock? And should the Saints do it? Let's have that conversation. There are conflicting reports. You'll remember Adam Schefter just earlier this week said it was going to be linemen, defensive linemen for the New Orleans Saints at 9. Jane Slater, who is with the Saints on draft day, an hour ago, tweeted, quote, hearing from a few teams and agents today, O-line for Saints at 9. This is the craziness that we love about draft day. And given the conflicting reports, given the state of the Saints team, I don't really think it's hyperbolic to say this is one of the most anticipated picks at number 9 that the New Orleans Saints have ever made. Because you need so many different things, so many different positions. You haven't drafted a quarterback since 1971 in Archie Manning in the first round. I mean, we've thrown that stat out numerous times throughout this entire process and even in past drafts. And now on the morning of the draft, you see them be linked so hot and heavy to a quarterback, one that you know they've done a lot of work on, but there's still the conflicting reports. Here's what I want the New Orleans Saints to do, and it's really not that complicated or that hard. I want the Saints to go in at number 9 and be convicted and take the player that they friggin' want. That's it. Have some conviction and go make a pick. You always hear, sometimes you take best available. No, I don't care about that. Take the player you want to take. If it's best available, then take it. If that's Mason Graham, if the Jaguars select Ashton Genty at 5 and Mason Graham falls all the way to you and you want to take best available and you take Mason Graham, fine. But you better have some conviction when you do it. If you love Jaxson Dart, if Kellen Moore loves Jaxson Dart and that's his guy and he believes that's the franchise, then take him at 9. Be convicted about it and take him at 9. If you don't love him, you like him, he's the quarterback you like the most out of this class, and you think you can get him later, you can trade back in, then do that. but be convicted when you do it and understand that you're taking a risk. There hasn't been much conviction in the moves for the New Orleans Saints as of late. You can look at free agency and things that they've done. I mean, hell, you can look at the quarterback situation right now with Derek Carr and restructuring his deal, and now all the conflicting reports about, he wants to be traded. He didn't really want the restructure. There's nothing there. Go back to the coaching search. They wanted Aaron Glenn. They felt really convicted about that, but Aaron Glenn didn't feel convicted about coming to the New Orleans Saints, and he didn't do that. This is the one thing you can really control the most. When you look at odds and everything surrounding Jaxson Dart, he will be there at 9 if you believe the odds. The draft is very unpredictable. I get that. But on draft day, when you see the Giants minus 1,400 to take Abdul Carter, it's a pretty safe bet. They're taking Abdul Carter. When you see the Browns minus 5,000 or whatever to take, Travis Hunter, 2,500. I overestimated there a little bit. It's a pretty safe bet they're taking Travis Hunter. So if Jaxson Dart's your guy, take him at 9. Why put the risk in there? Would I totally agree with you taking him at 9? Probably not. Because I think if he's there, he'll be there elsewhere. You just have to work a little harder to get him. So if he's your guy and you're convicted, take him. If you want to go offensive tackle, which is a huge need, by the way, take him. That's really all I want from them. Go in, know what you're going for, and go take it. It's been way too willy-nilly around that organization for far too long now, really since Sean Payton retired. So let's say the New Orleans Saints don't take Jaxson Dart at 9. Let's say, for the sake of this conversation, they go best available offensive tackle or best available player, which in most of the mocks you're seeing would be Mason Graham. What happens? Well, then you have to trade back into the first round. And look, we've already had the report earlier this week from Adam Schefter about the New Orleans Saints already, sending out calls, trying to move up from 40. And I know Ross Jackson over at LouisianaSports.net put out his latest and final mock draft this morning, and he had the Saints trading back into the round 1 to take Jaxson Dart at 32, trading with the Eagles. Looking at the odds, it doesn't look like you'll have the luxury of waiting until 32. Because that's where a whole nother layer comes into this. Where now you're seeing the Steelers at 21. Man, they've been heavily linked to Shedeur Sanders. There's reports coming out Thursday morning that they will pass on Shedeur Sanders if he's there at 21. You know they need quarterback, or they in the running for Jaxson Dart. Then you get back with the Giants and the Browns. The Browns are at 33. They have the first pick of the second round. The Giants are at 34. Could one of them trade back up? And right now, as it stands, you look at Jaxson Dart's Jaxson Dart's draft position is currently off the board, which means there's an update coming to that. Before I walked in here to do the show, it was at 24.5, and under 24.5 was minus $1.75 and continuing to move toward a heavier favorite. The Saints are going to have to get into the 20s, most likely, I think, to draft Jaxson Dart if they do not take him at 9. Who has the 20th pick? The Denver Broncos. You know there's a relationship there with Sean Payton, with Mickey Loomis. Not to say that just immediately gives you in the inside track. And for what it's worth, Adam Schefter has also reported that the Broncos are taking calls about the 20th pick. With the Steelers now being reported to pass on Shedeur Sanders, Broncos at 20 really seems like a spot where you'd have to go. Because the Steelers need a quarterback. The Giants want to trade back in. They need a quarterback. And Brian Daboll reports there as well that he's high. You've seen Jaxson Dart's odds climb for the Giants as well. He's still got the 4th best odds there. But if you don't take him at 9 and you try to finesse things, which again, I don't want you to do. I want you to go in there, know what you're doing, have conviction, and make the pick. But if you try to finesse things, understand you're taking a risk. And that 32 might not be the option anymore for you to trade back into the first round. It might have to be earlier and in the first round. I'll try to get you an update later throughout the show on Dart's draft position odds, where that goes. I just refreshed again, and he's still off the board. But y'all, there's a lot of anticipation for this pick tonight at 9. Probably be around 8:20, 8:30 this evening when the Saints finally go on the clock. And what happens before them will absolutely dictate, although it looks pretty set. The only thing, the question that they have left to answer is, do you love Jaxson Dart? Is he your franchise? Is he your guy? And if he is, and you feel that convicted, why not just take him at 9 and eliminate all the rest of the risk? You have bigger needs. But if that's your guy, man, go take him. That's really the only thing I want to see. You have so many needs. You can't go wrong in this. Like, you could take any position, and we'd look at it and go, well, you needed that. So find the one you love the most and make that pick at 9.
Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.